All right, everybody. This is going to be a difficult video for me to make. Very emotional. A lot of memories. I have a lot of memories. And I'm going to tell you about what I saw in Chicago in the 2015 to 17 era of garage rock. Probably a little after that, a little before that, I knew about all this stuff that was going on. I don't know how important it was. My job now as a journalist is to parse these things I've seen and the movements I've seen and make sense of them. And I think it's important because nobody's going to do it. The people writing for Pitchfork, whatever, I don't even remember anymore. I don't pay attention to it. The Pitchforks, whatever, Variety, that stuff. It's off limits to a guy like me. It's off limits to most of you. They talk in their own language. They don't talk like I talk. They don't know about the things that I know about. And on the other hand, there's a lot of stuff out there. And for some reason, nobody talks about it. But it's out there. And nobody knows what's popular anymore. So I'm going to tell you what I know. What I know personally is 5, 6 bands, 7 bands, a dozen maybe. The Orwells, Twin Peaks. Those two got press. Those two are popular in Pitchfork. I think Twin Peaks was some kind of nepotism thing. I think the Orwells were a pretty down-to-earth bunch, but they got canceled. And there was a little band you might have heard of called the Walters. The Walters. There's a pattern here, right? It's all kind of old school sounding. There's a angle with Twin Peaks that you know where the angle is. I'm sophisticated. I support the arts in America. David Lynch was a genius. Just fine. I'm not saying they're wrong, but that's what it was. The Walters. They had an album called Young Men, and they dressed up in cardigans. And there was a bit of nepotism with that group, but they're nice guys, I don't really know the ins and outs of these things, and I'm not going to pretend I know all these people personally and they're my friends. But I did embed myself in this scene and try to be part of this scene. Sometimes succeeded at that, sometimes failed at that. Not in a way of I want to. The clout chase was a thing back then. I don't know. It still probably is. But at some point you get tired of that. And if you just put enough time into something, you'll just know who the players are. And I knew the players. And some people I liked being around. The Walters were nice guys. I'm not going to say. I think there was some money coming in from some folks to get them off their legs. And Twin Peaks, there was some money coming in to get them off their legs. And I'm pretty sure. I think there was some academia stuff going on, and you can't get into this and be good at it unless you got a bag of a war chest to use. So these were the groups. The Orwells are a very wild bunch, but this was when rock was gasping. I use this word a lot, gasping. It felt like a push, a final push, and then Trump and everything after COVID shut the door, The Beach Bunny. We're going to talk about the Beach Bunny. And this is going to be a long series. And I'm just going to say, I don't want to get clipped, right? So I'm not going to, I don't know any secrets about these. I'm just going to say this was the scene. And I wasn't close with many of these people. I don't know any of these people, but I did have conversations with them. I have met some of these people. I have seen performances of these people. I have these bands. I know the scene, at least in my town. And it's a cool scene. I mean, it's good, you know? It's good to have this. And there's another band, the Smith Westerns. They got press. So what happened though that was interesting in the 20 mid 2010s is I noticed a trend where bands like the Smith Westerns and the Orwells and Twin Peaks, they get press, but they wouldn't get streams. Whereas bands like Beach Bunny and the Walters wouldn't get press or major label sort of click recognition. Not saying these people are outside the clicks, but they were not successful at, like the Walters have a billion streams right now. They have a billion streams. Look it up. That's a fact. Twin Peaks sits at 15 million. It's like less than a tenth of what these other bands have. A 1% of the streams. So how does that happen? And I could be off on these numbers, but I am correct that the billion's correct. But it might be 100 million for some of these bands. It's low, though. It's much, much lower. But these were solidified, press getting, Tribune article writing, sort of Pitchfork bands. I don't think the Walters have ever been in Pitchfork. As far as I know, they might have been once, but the press there isn't as good. It exists, but it's not as strong as some of these other groups that were pushed. The Beach Bunny press, also not as strong. How many streams does Beach Bunny have? And the Beach Bunny thing was a little different. It was a little more, it was a female singer, which doesn't make it different by virtue of that. But, and I'm not trying to be PC. I'm just saying it doesn't, because it was the Chicago rock scene, but it was a different type of music than those harder bands that were more, honestly, in my opinion, had more of that grit and that soul of rock and roll that the Orwells and the Twin Peaks groups had. Maybe that's just not as popular, because the Beach Bunny stuff that was maybe more poppy and more accessible, it blew up. And the Walters would have probably been obscure like these other groups, and they still are obscure. That's the other point I'm trying to get to, but we'll get there. The Walters had this soft song called I Love You So, which, based on streams alone, would have been multi-platinum. If this was 1990, they'd probably be a household name, and you'd probably know all about this song. It'd be a major hit that would have generated hundreds of millions of dollars for this band. At this point, I don't know how much it's generated. Probably less. Maybe a few million. With a billion streams. So a billion streams, that's like Drake level stuff. And this was a little band from Chicago, Beach Bunny, I think 500 million. So that's where your scene is. But these other groups that were on the radar of everybody was Twin Peaks, the Orwells, and Smith Westerns. Those guys, you forget about it. They all moved on, got jobs, As far as I know, it's over, right? It's over for all these people pretty much, but some stuff did better than other stuff, even though the press was there. And why does the press not like bands that have millions of streams, like a billion? What's going on with that? Because I've seen these people have more streams than like these, God, I need to brush up on this stuff. The girl rocker Phoebe Bridgers. They're at that level, but it's still a local secret thing. So why, There was Mom Jeans. You look at the Mom Jeans streams, still a little less. But I don't think they get much press either, So this Phoebe Bridgers stuff got pushed. And is it because they were women? I don't know. The Beach Bunny's not as popular as a Phoebe Bridgers. I don't know. You could say it's because of that the politics changed. And they wanted these softer sort of male types. The Walters were kind of softer, more palatable. But they're still not as popular nationwide as a Phoebe Bridgers. They're not getting the deals that are pushing them. They're not on the shows late nights, being pushed to perform, It's very competitive, I guess. But this is what I know, and I'm gonna dig into these bands and what I've seen. And look up the Smith Westerns music video at Harlem Irving Plaza if you want to really have a blast from the past. And we're gonna start there, and I'm gonna dissect what I have come to see personally and how these bands sort of were the last gasp of this sort of music before we got hyper pop and 100 gex or whatever, you know. And maybe it still exists. Maybe I just don't pay attention anymore. But this is what I know. No one's really doing journalism on this stuff. So I'm going to talk about it because I lived it. I was there, you know. And it's interesting because a lot of this is still not talked about. So we're going to talk about it more. That's a little introduction. 2010s garage rock, Chicago. And just to sort of get into garage as a theme, a lot of this was the harder acts, the Orwells, were this. Sorry, folks. Sorry, folks. Sorry, folks. Yeah, just to summarize this, some of these bands, Twin Peaks, the Orwells, they were definitively garage rock bands. Chicago garage was a thing. But the most successful bands I saw didn't fit into those molds. And they were more successful than these garage rockers. And that was the last I've ever heard of rock and roll, was that. I don't know what happened to it. I don't pay much attention these days. But that was my town. That was what I saw. And I'm going to talk about it through a series of episodes here. So this will be the Chicago Garage 2010s analysis, understanding videos. And I hope you join me.